Benares Homeschool.
Hey everybody, we're the Benares. We love to read books
and learn through stories and fun activities. Come join us!
Hey guys, I'm glad you're here for the very first episode of our homeschool series. Today's lesson is brought to you by the bear and
Mum. Hi everyone. Yes, we are so happy to have you with us for lesson 1. Our lessons are based off books, and so first we read a book and then we do fun activities that are related to the book. And we learn about maths and English and science and arts and lots of other things as we go along together.
So get ready, we're kicking things off today with our super special first book review! And the book we are reviewing is called The Little Red Hen. This is our book review template that we created for us to use each time we review a book. It's free for you to download, just click the link below.
Or you can create your own one like we've done here with a piece of paper, some pencils and a ruler. We can write on this as we go along together, and you can stick it in your workbook when you're finished at the end. On our template we have a book and 4 boxes, and in the boxes it says,
what I predict will happen, characters and your favourite character, what is the author's main message, and change one thing in the story.
So we already know that the title of the book is called
The Little Red Hen.
So we'll go ahead and write that on the cover of the book. Let's start with what I predict will happen. What do you predict will happen in this story, The Little Red Hen? You can talk with your grown-up or your siblings or whoever you are doing your classwork with and write it down in the box.
You can look at the pictures on the book to get an idea if you're not sure. I predict that the little red hen is going to grow.
Before we read this book, I wanted to provide you with some interesting background information about it. This story was first published way back in 1874.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
That is 152 years ago. The edition of the book that we are reading today was published in 1918.
That's cool.
And it is cool. And this edition is iconic or famous for the pictures that are in it. And they were actually drawn by Florence White Williams herself.
Wow. Let's get into this story. The Little Red Hen, an old English folk tale, retold and illustrated by Florence White Williams. Belfield Publishing Company, Chicago, Akron, Ohio, New York, printed in USA. Now we know the author's name is Florence White Williams. I'm going to write it in the box.
Yes, that's perfect. Or on the cover of your book.
A little red hen lived in a barnyard. She spent almost all of her time walking about the barnyard in her pickety-pickety fashion, scratching everywhere for worms. She dearly loved fat, delicious worms and felt they were absolutely necessary to the health of her children. As often as she found a worm, she would call to her chickies. When they were gathered about her, she would distribute choice morsels of her tidbit. A busy little body was she.
Have you noticed any words in the book so far that you haven't heard before?
Yes, the words tidbit and morsels, and on the first page the words pickety-pickety.
Yes, these are words that most of us may not have heard before. We'll take these words out of the book And later on, we are going to find out the definition of these words so we can get a better understanding.
Yeah, that's fine. A cat usually napped lazily in the barn door, not even bothering herself to scare the rat who ran here and there as he pleased. And as for the pig who lived in the sty, he did not care what happened so long as he could eat and grow fat. One day the little red hen found a seed. It was a wheat seed, but the little red hen was so accustomed to bugs and worms that she supposed this to be some new and perhaps very delicious kind of meat. She bit it gently and found that it resembled a worm in no way whatsoever. As to taste, although because it was long and slender, a little red hen might easily be fooled by its appearance.
Now, we've been introduced to some of the book's characters. Can you recall who they are?
I know the cat, the little red hen, and the rat.
Wow, that's excellent recalling. What about you guys at home? Can you think of any other characters that we've met so far? Yes, that's right, the pig. So we can write all of these characters in the box on our template. Does anyone have a favourite character yet?
The cat.
You like the cat?
Yes.
Why do you like the cat?
I just like cats.
That's nice. I think I like the little red hen. I think that's my favourite character. And you guys at home, tell us what your favourite character is, and you can talk to each other about your favourite character and why you like them.
Carrying it about, she made many inquiries as to what it might be. She found it was a wheat seed, and that if planted, it would grow up, and then when ripe, it could be made into flour and then into bread. When she discovered that she knew it ought to be planted, she was so busy hunting food for herself and her family that naturally she thought she ought not to take time to plant it. So she thought of the pig upon whom time must hang heavily, and of the cat who had nothing to do, and the great fat rat with his idle hours, and she called loudly, "Who will plant the seed?" But the pig said, "Not I," and the cat said, "Not I," and the rat said, "Not I." "Well then," said the little red hen, "I will." And she did.
What a lovely story so far. So the little red hen has found a wheat seed and she has discovered that she needs to plant it. But nobody wants to help her. Oh, that's sad. I love planting seeds. Have you ever planted a seed?
Yes, I have planted cucumber seeds and tomato seeds.
Oh, yum. Did you grow any cucumbers?
Yes, we've grown 2 cucumbers.
Oh, that's good.
Friends at home, have you ever planted a seed? Let us know.
Yes, definitely let us know. We would love to hear all about that. And before we continue on with the story, are there any more words that you've come across that you don't know what they mean?
Accustomed and ought.
Okay, that's perfect. So we can take those words out of the book. And also, we're going to take out these phrases, hang heavily and idle hours. And we're going to find out the definition of these words a bit later on. And everyone at home, you can write these words down on a spare piece of paper if you like, so you can have them to come back to later on.
Let's keep reading. Then she went on with her daily duties through the long summer days, scratching for worms and feeding her chicks, while the pig grew fat, and the cat grew fat, and the rat grew fat, and the wheat grew tall and ready for harvest. So one day the little red hen chanced to notice how large the wheat was, and that the grain was ripe, so she ran about calling briskly, "Who will cut the wheat?" The pig said, "Not I." The cat said, "Not I." And the rat said, "Not I." "Well then," said the little red hen, "I will." And she did. She got the sickle from among the farmer's tools in the barn and proceeded to cut all of the big plant of wheat. On the ground lay the nicely cut wheat, ready to be gathered and threshed, but the newest and yellowest and downiest of Mrs. Hen's chicks set up a peeping in their most vigorous fashion, proclaiming to the world at large, but most particularly to their mother, that she was neglecting them.
You have a lovely reading voice, Mr. Bear. And as you've been reading, I've noticed a few more words that may sound unfamiliar. And I feel like calling them our collector words because we're collecting words from this book to learn more about them later. What do you think?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
What do you guys think at home? Collector words. Let's go with that for now. And so I'm wondering if any of these words sound unfamiliar or new to you. So just let me know as we go along. Briskly or sickle? Do they sound unfamiliar to you or new?
Yes, they sound pretty new.
What about threshed or downiest?
Threshed sounds pretty new.
And vigorous or proclaiming?
Vigorous.
You've heard of proclaiming?
Yes.
And what about neglecting?
No, I haven't heard of neglecting.
And some of our friends might not know what some of these words mean. So if you're at home, you can talk amongst each other and let each other know which words you know and which words you don't know. And a phrase that I would like to learn more about is this one, chance to notice. Did anyone wonder what that meant? Yeah, me too. And so we'll take these words out and put them with the other words that we picked out earlier. And if you're writing them down, you can add these new words to your list, which we are going to call a glossary list.
Poor little red hen, she felt quite bewildered and hardly knew where to turn. Her attention was sorely divided between her duty to her children and her duty to the wheat, for which she felt responsible. So again, in a very hopeful tone, she called out, "Who will thresh the wheat?" But the pig with a grunt said, "Not I," and the cat with a meow said, "Not I," and the rat with a squeak said, "Not I." So the little red hen, looking, it must be admitted, rather discouraged, said, "Well, I will then." And she did.
Of course she had to feed her babies first, though when she had gotten them all to sleep for the afternoon nap, she went out and threshed the wheat. Then she called out, "Who will carry the wheat to the mill to be ground?"
I want to tell you guys a little bit more about the illustrations in this book quickly before we keep reading.
I noticed that some of them are in colour and some are in black and white.
Yeah, that's really great noticing. There are 8 coloured illustrations and many others that were originally blue and white, rather than the traditional black and white. And also the publishing company used blue ink on the text to complement Florence's beautiful blue and white drawings. Now I think that's really fascinating. What do you guys at home think about this? Have a talk amongst each other and share your thoughts.
You can leave us a comment and let us know.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's read a little bit more, you guys. We are doing amazing.
Turning thee back with a snippy glee, that pig said not I, and the cat said not I, and that rat said not I. So the good little red hen could do nothing but say, I will then, and she did. Carrying the sack of wheat, she trudged off to the distant mill. There she ordered the wheat ground into beautiful white flour. When the miller brought her the flour, she walked slowly back all the way to her own barnyard in her own pickety fashion. She even managed, in spite of her load, to catch a nice juicy worm now and then, and had one left for the babies when she reached them. Those cunning little fluff balls were so glad to see their mother for the first time they really appreciated her. After this really strenuous day, Mrs. Hen retired to her slumbers earlier than usual. Indeed, before the colours came into the sky to herald the setting of the sun, her usual bedtime hour. She would have liked to sleep late in the morning, but her chicks, joining in the morning chorus of the hen yard, drove away all hopes of such a luxury. Even as she sleepily half opened one eye, the thought came to her that today that wheat must somehow be made into bread.
Very nice reading, Mr. Bear, thank you. So, for a quick recap on the story so far, Mr. Bear, can you please tell us what has happened since planting the seed?
The wheat has now grown and needs cutting down and needs to be threshed and to be taken to the mill to be ground and made into flour. And the little red hen is feeling busy with her chicks and still no one will help her.
That's right, the little red hen has been very busy. Now it's time to make the bread. Do you think that anyone is going to help her make the bread?
Maybe.
Do you think anyone's going to help her eat the bread?
Yeah. Definitely.
And a quick question for you. If you could write the next part of the story, what would you decide happens? And you guys at home, have a talk amongst each other and let us know if you want to. What would you decide would be the next part of the story?
She became a Fortnite player and won 3 games in a row.
The little red hen, a Fortnite gamer? Oh my. I bet she'd like that. That would be better than doing all of her jobs, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And everyone at home, you can write your story in your workbook. I can't wait to hear and see some of your ideas for what the next part of the story could be.
She was not in the habit of making bread, although, of course, anyone can make it if he or she follows the recipe with care. And she knew perfectly well that she could do it if necessary. So after her children were fed and made sweet and fresh for the day, she hunted up the pig, the cat, and the rat. Still confident they would surely help her someday, she sang out, "Who will make the bread?" Alas for the little red hen, once more her hopes were dashed. For the pig said, "Not I," the cat said, "Not I," and the rat said, "Not I." So the little red hen said once more, "I will then," and she did. Feeling that she might have known all the time that she would have to do it all herself, she went and put on a fresh apron and spotless cook's cap. First of all, she set the dough as was proper. When it was time, she brought out the moulding board and the baking tins, moulded the bread, divided it into loaves and put them into the oven to bake, all while the cat sat lazily by giggling and chuckling.
Oh, the little red hen is baking the bread. Yum, yum. Do you guys enjoy baking?
Yeah, I love baking.
That's awesome. Hopefully some of our friends at home enjoy baking too. Has anybody baked bread before?
Yeah, I've baked some bread.
That's awesome. Well, we are going to make bread together in our upcoming lesson, The Little Red Hen Baking Bread. So that is going to be so much fun.
We're excited to make bread with you guys.
And also, this book has so many new words that I haven't heard before. I thought we should have a quick discussion about whether you have heard these words before and if you know what they mean. As I read them to you, you can write them in your glossary list with your other collector words. So here we go. Bewildered, sorely, snippy glee, spite, cunning, strenuous, slumbers, alas, and dashed.
I've heard some of the words, but I haven't heard all of them.
Yeah, they're all very interesting words. So have a talk with each other about these words and then we'll keep reading. We're on the last few pages.
And close at hand, the vain rat powdered his nose and admired himself in a mirror. In the distance could be heard the long-drawn snores of the dozing pig. At last, the great moment arrived. A delicious odour was wafted upon the autumn breeze. Everywhere the barnyard citizens sniffed the air with delight. The red hen ambled in her pickety way toward the source of all this excitement. Although she appeared to be perfectly calm, in reality she could only with difficulty restrain an impulse to dance and sing, for had she not done all the work on this wonderful bread. Small wonder that she was most excited person in the barnyard. She did not know whether the bread would be fit to eat, but joy of joys, when the lovely brown loaves came out of the oven, they were done to perfection. Then, probably because she had acquired the habit, a red hen called, "Who will eat the bread?" All the animals in the barnyard were watching hungrily and smacking their lips in anticipation, and the pig said, "I will," the cat said, "I will," and the rat said, "I will." But the little red hen said, "No, you won't, I will," and she did.
Woohoo! We finished the book!
Yay!
What a great story. Really great reading. It was amazing reading, Mr. Bear. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And before we finish our lesson, we have one final part on our book review template to have a look at, and that is, what is the author's main message? Have a chat and share ideas about what you think the author's main message in this story is.
Hard work.
You think it was about hard work?
Yeah.
I agree, definitely. And do you think it was about consequences? Maybe consequences of being lazy.
Yeah. I think it was a bit about personal responsibility.
It was definitely about personal responsibility. The little red hen didn't give up and she got it done. Do you think that it was fair that the little red hen didn't share the bread with the other animals?
Kinda.
Why do you think that?
Because they did just sit around being lazy. Didn't help.
Yeah, they didn't really help her. So it was a little bit fair.
Write your awesome ideas down in the box, guys.
And during our lesson, we did talk about if you could write the next part of the story, what would you decide happens? So make sure you write that down here in the box on your template.
Now you can stick your book review template into your workbook. That is the end of our first lesson.
Okay, everybody, let's have a few quick questions before we say goodbye. Which part of the story did you find the most interesting?
The miller.
What part of the miller did you like?
Making the bread.
Oh, that's cool. Did the story end the way that you expected?
Not really.
How did you expect it to end?
I thought that the hen would grow.
Oh, you did. You did predict that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's cool. An unexpected ending.
Yeah. My question is, would you recommend this book and why?
Oh, that's a very good question. What do you guys think at home? Would you recommend this book?
Yeah.
You would?
Let us know in the comments if you would recommend this book and why.
Yes, we would really love to know what you think. And also, we are going to have a big lesson coming up because we collected a lot of words from this book. And together we're going to define them all and gain the understanding of what they all mean.
Well, that was the Little Red Hen book review. We're glad you were part of our learning today. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you on the next lesson.
See you then.
Have a great day.
Wow.